It wasn't the journey we expected, but the magic of Disney, and especially our night at Arendelle, made this cruise one we'll never forget. Come along with us and relive the dining, the characters, and the memories from our Disney Wish adventure. Along the way, we shared some unforgettable moments, from meeting Mickey and Minnie, photographs with the ship's captain, and even catching up with our friends Chris and Amanda from Provost Park Pass. So we're in the Frozen Arena, Arendelle, and this is going to be supper tonight. They pack them in, you know, it's a cruise ship, so this is the early seating, and then we're going to be the second seating, and Maitre D is just getting started. And there's been some mechanical difficulties today on the Wish.
So we're still at port in
Nassau, for all of you.
We can't leave until the mechanical issues are fixed.
There's been some mechanical difficulties.
And they've canceled the pirate fireworks tonight because we won't be at sea.
So, and we may be here tomorrow morning in Nassau. We're getting ready to have supper. Arendelle, a frozen dining adventure. This one-of-a-kind dinner show transports you right into the kingdom of Arendelle, with Anna, Elsa, Olaf, and Kristoff as your hosts. You enjoy live music, dancing, storytelling, all while savoring a delicious meal. It's truly a dinner and a show the entire family will remember. At the Arendelle on the Disney Wish.
And now you're all part of our family too! These days are precious, can't let them slip away. Freeze this moment, but I can still go out and seize this day.
I don't know, but yeah. Because some of these new movies I don't even know. Trish knows. I don't know.
This one here is more targeted towards the younger kiddos. Like younger kids, that's what and then obviously the parents getting annoyed.
Oh, yes. Good morning.
Hi, everyone.
We are at home in South Dakota. Brief recap of the trip on the Disney Wish. There goes the dog.
He thinks somebody's here because
Somebody's attacking. He's a guard dog. That's Hadley, the wonder dog. So, the Disney Wish. It was our first cruise ever, and it was on the Disney Wish, and it was a great trip. And left out of Cape Canaveral
on April 28th. It was a 3-night cruise.
And we went to Nassau and stayed in Nassau.
But we were supposed to go to Nassau and Castaway Cay. Those were the 2 ports we were
because the boat broke down
on the itinerary.
So, but we still had a great time. It was a good trip, a good cruise. We started out at Port Canaveral, boarding, and went through security and walked onto the ship across the gangplank into the great big lobby where they have the chandelier and Cinderella's glass slipper.
Should we go back? We flew in the night before because with any cruises, you need to get there the night before in case there's any airline issues to give you time to get there. We stayed at Port Orleans Riverside. And
we went to the Magic Kingdom for a little bit.
Because we had just purchased our annual passes. So we went to we were up since 3:45. But Disney Cruise Line picks you up at the resort. Very simple. You leave your luggage in the room. You let them know how many pieces of luggage you have. They give you tags. They tell you where to meet at the lobby. And you all get on the bus and go to Port Canaveral. Very flawless, seamless. It was a wonderful experience.
Right. So we did stay at Port Orleans and we got a beignet and we went into the Magic Kingdom and spent some time there. Went on the People Mover and got on the bus, went on the Jungle Cruise. We got on the bus, went to Port Canaveral, and you can see the ship as you're approaching. And on the webpage, we've loaded up about 60 videos or something, so you can follow the whole trip on the adventures of Rob, Trish, and Hadley. We got on the boat, went into the big salon. They announce you when you walk in,
Grand Hall,
and then you walk around the ship because your luggage isn't there yet.
We were in the first boarding group, so we boarded early, 11:30, and Rapunzel was greeting us. Things might you want to know. You might want to know these things, right?
So we went to the food court and got our first meal, and the meals are included. And it's a big food court where you can just walk around and get whatever you please. And then we went to the spa to check in because we got the
length of stay
at the spa. So that was good. And when we were in the spa, that's when we heard the first and I thought it was them pulling the anchor in, but lo and behold, when you're in port, you don't need an anchor because you're tied off, but it sounded like the anchor coming on board.
But keep in mind, this was our first cruise, so we didn't know anything was amiss because it all seemed normal to us because it was our first cruise.
But there was a big noise, and everybody kind of looked around like this. And then we went on with our business and went and got a meal and got some ice cream cones and checked in with the group for supper that night. We had a group supper.
We checked into the room. The room was ready at 2. Your rooms are ready at 2. And I had an algae treatment scheduled after the sail away party before dinner. At the sail away party, we were down in the front. It was a great time. It was so much fun. FPE was on deck 12, I think, and they got on the Jumbotron. Didn't even know the ship was moving until Rob said, "Oh, we've pulled off," and then you could kind of just feel a little bit of movement. Nothing bad. Didn't experience any seasickness.
And there were folks out there on the jetty waving goodbye to the ship, and one fellow was taking pictures because it's a big ship and it's a big fancy ship, the Disney Wish.
And we went to the spa, got the treatment. I'm laying on the table and I hear another loud noise. And because I have a bad back, so my knees were kind of up, and all of a sudden my knees were going, "Arr." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, is this normal? Because I might need a seasickness patch." And the crew member said, "Well, that's different." And she likened it to, well, every time we leave Port Canaveral, we're in a jetty before we get out into the open water, and sometimes it can be a little rougher. But there was a loud noise.
There was something mechanical.
Yeah.
And so anyhow, we had a nice supper and got back to our room and watched the waves go by. and we got some rest. And then we woke up the next morning. We had room service bring a tray to the door. So we had a tray of croissants and whatnot on the balcony.
Free. Room service is free. Just you have to tip them.
So we had a nice little breakfast on the balcony, and we were at Nassau. We were docked in Nassau, and everything seemed fine. We weren't going into Nassau. We had not planned to go into Nassau, so we went to the spa and explored the ship and just went to Marceline Market for breakfast. And
we were saving our day for Castaway Cay because if those of you know, I have a bad back. I have Achilles tendonitis on my feet. So we have to save what I do for a big event. And we were saving it for Castaway Cay. So we did not disembark at Nassau. We were just looking at the ship, walking around, had a fabulous time on the ship. I just can't speak highly enough of the Disney Wish.
It was a good boat. And so then we had supper that night with the group. This was pirate night. Was it pirate night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was going to be pirate night.
And so we dressed up like pirates, but we were still in Port Nassau. So they couldn't do the fireworks.
At 5:00, we were in the room getting dressed. The announcement came on, and the captain made an announcement that there was some mechanical issues and the fireworks show was canceled that night because we were going to be docked in Nassau.
So we stayed in Nassau, another night instead of going to Castaway Cay.
They did have a pirate parlay party, just no fireworks. And that was fun. We danced until 1 o'clock.
And we dressed up like pirates, so that was good.
It was a lot of fun. And Arendelle was great. I love Arendelle.
And then the next morning, we thought that we were going to Castaway Cay. Still, we thought, but no, we didn't. They announced that we were going to limp back to Port Canaveral. And they said there's bad weather, but it wasn't that bad of a weather. It was, I think there was a mechanical issue with the boat. So we were trying to get back to port. But we headed out and got more food. There's a lot of food and ice cream. And we went up to the cove, which is the adult section in the front of the boat. So you can just sit around with people and not a bunch of screaming children. And we watched the captain come about and leave the port from the cove. So we were up top and we got some good footage of leaving Nassau.
The morning of what was supposed to be Castaway Cay, we thought we were going to wake up at Castaway Cay. We were expecting at some point, like 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock, at some point we were going to leave Nassau.
But we had never left.
And go to Castaway Cay. So I'm laying there. We had a veranda room. I'm laying there. Can't go to sleep. I'm so excited to get to Castaway Cay, looking out the window. And every time I would doze off and I'd wake up, we hadn't moved. We were still in Nassau.
Right.
So we woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and our breakfast came and we were like, why are we still at Nassau? I don't know what's going on because there had been no communication. And that was a lot of people's gripes. There was no communication. We didn't know what was going on. And there was a note on our door that said, due to mechanical issues, we're not going to be going to Castaway Cay, and due to weather, we're going to head on back to Port Canaveral. Well, at the same time, the alarms, the horns are going off as if we were pulling up to Castaway Cay. On the boards outside, by the elevators and stuff were the itineraries for the day. It was like, welcome to Castaway Cay. We hope you have a good day. So we were very confused. We were like, okay, are we going to Castaway Cay? Are we not going to Castaway Cay?
It was probably all digitally programmed.
Right.
So
and they didn't change it.
A human wasn't able to change it.
So I called guest services and said, okay, if we're going to be in Nassau still, can you open the doors to let those of us who had not even gotten off the ship off for a few hours to go to Nassau? We were told, no, can't do that.
So we stayed on the ship and then we came about and started heading out of Nassau, which we got some good footage of that. And then we were not under full steam. It never seemed like we were under full steam heading back to Cape Canaveral, but we went up to the Lido deck or the promenade or one of them.
Wherever they have the shuffleboard.
And we found some chaise lounges and we sat down there for a while, and the spray was coming over
Mm-hmm.
the side. It was a little bit of weather, but not too much weather. I mean, we were raised in Florida, so it takes a lot of weather to call it bad weather. And we were sitting there, and Trish fell asleep and took a nap on the chaise lounge, and
with the water spraying on me.
Then we went to our last supper was at the Roy Disney restaurant, the 1923, and we had a good supper then. And we went to the Bayou Lounge and saw the 3-piece jazz combo, and those guys were pretty good.
But here's some advice. The night before disembarkation, you leave your luggage outside your door by 10 o'clock. So you have to remember what you're wearing and your pajamas and what you're wearing for the next day, you need to keep out of your luggage. So you may have to wear the same thing, which is what happened to me.
Cruise wear.
It was not, I had a very nice dress planned for 1923. There was just, we had the late dinner, so I knew we would not be back to the room before 10 o'clock. So I didn't get to dress up that night. A little disappointing, but it's okay. Just something to know in the future. Have your outfits planned, and maybe in your carry-on or whatever. We packed very lightly, so.
Right. Take a big suitcase.
And check it.
Yeah. And so then we got back to port and checked out and went back to the airport and headed home back to work. And it was a good trip. It was the Disney Wish.
We did go to guest services. After we didn't go to Castaway Cay, there was a line at guest services wrapped around the boat. You need to understand, this was some people's life savings. This was their one and done trip. There were people there with illnesses, and I may start crying. There were people there with illnesses where this was their trip, right? This was the trip of a lifetime. They were never going to be able to do another big trip like this, and they didn't get to go to Castaway Cay, which is the big thing. So a lot of people I've seen on social media criticizing people who were upset because we didn't get to go to Castaway Cay because they're like, well, you can't control weather. Well, I get that, but you have to understand this was not cheap. And this was some people's life savings, and they're never going to be able to do this again. So they were very upset. We never heard anyone yelling at the cast members, guest services. We never heard anybody yelling. But people clearly were upset, and understandably so. We waited until disembarkation morning to go to guest services when there wasn't that big of a line. And we talked to Bailey, and she was absolutely wonderful. And we told her, we know it's not your fault. We're not coming at you. We just want you to document our disappointment, because what Disney did was, Disney Cruise Line, let me separate that. They gave us $100 credit on our account and a 20% off a future cruise. Well, a lot of people can't afford 20% off a future cruise. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So that kind of was like, what are we doing with that? And so we wanted her to know our disappointment, and we wanted to know if we could apply that 20% to this cruise, if we could get a 20% discount. And we were told, unfortunately, no, I'm going to record your complaint, but here's a card. When you get off the ship, you can reach out to them and see if they'll do anything for you, because I guess it's a different company that handles
in marketing. Like, a dollars off thing is always better than here you can spend more money in the future. But anyway, it was a good trip. I didn't even realize we didn't go to Castaway Cay because we were busy. There was always something going on, and it was a nice ship. The whole idea was to go to the beach at Castaway Cay though and snorkel with the stingrays.
I just wanted to get into the Caribbean water.
So we'll do that next time. But like Trish said, some people won't go back, and we're going to, maybe next time we're going to go on a ship with a casino so I can go 25 red.
Mm-hmm. He did play bingo. We did play bingo.
We played bingo, and I was one number away.
And honestly, there was so much to do on the ship. There were so many shows. They had a show every night. We were so busy doing something that we don't even know what we were doing, but we only saw the Aladdin show the last night.
The spa was good.
The Rainforest Spa was wonderful and relaxing. And we spent so much time just exploring the ship and walking around and just enjoying the moment that there was a lot of things we missed. We did get to see
Aladdin.
Right, but we did get a picture with Mickey. We did get to see Minnie.
Oh, we saw Gopher and all the officers standing around one time, and we went up there and we
the
took
night
a picture
of
with them.
when the ship broke down, there was a
Right.
whole bunch of officers standing in the Grand Hall, and we saw them. And of course,
They were trying to divert attention.
That's what we think. But we went right up to them, and I said, "Tell me the truth. What is going on?" And they acted like they didn't. What do you mean?
But we did take a picture with them.
But we did get a picture. They were great. The crew members were great. We had the girl Cindy from Turks and Caicos.
Yeah.
She was wonderful. She was a great help. Some of it was frustrating. I'm going to say that our room steward was not the greatest. For the meals, I just wanted to make sure I had a glass of ice because I'm going to tell y'all, it's hot in the Caribbean. And I just remembered I was just a ball of fire the entire time. And so I just always wanted to make sure I had ice to put on me. And only the last night did I get my cup of ice. But I understand they were busy, and any of the inconveniences, the lines, there was a lot of people on the ship.
A lot of people.
The shop, when it was open, was jam-packed. They didn't have a lot of product, unfortunately. And when we were at port for 24 hours at Nassau, the stores were closed. So understand you're on the ship and there's nothing to do. You can't get off the ship. You can't go shopping. And I know at one point they had closed some of the pools. And that's why we kind of knew there was a mechanical problem that's maybe affecting some of the little pools because they were actually closed. Even with all of that, all we can remember, because we've talked about it, and we had a great time. And yes, it was disappointing we didn't get to go to Castaway Cay. I'm so glad there are other YouTubers who have posted their Castaway Cay days, because we watched that. We watched one last night, like, oh, that's where we could have been. It was very disappointing, but there was no greater experience than going on the Disney Wish. It was luxurious. The marble floors, the pillars, everything was clean.
It was a nice boat.
It was just fabulous. And if you ever get an opportunity to go on the Wish, I highly recommend it. I don't think 3 days is long enough for any cruise. So the next cruise we go on, which we will, is going to be more than 3 days. So you can enjoy it all and you're not so rushed. Because we did kind of feel a little rushed to go from here to here, even though we had the late dining. Then you have the show at 6 o'clock. And there was so much food. And then we were just, we're just two old people. And we just get tired. We're early to bed, early to rise. So we were up early. But after dinner at 10 o'clock, we're kind of tired. And then we did get to spend some time outside on the Lido deck. And taking a nap in the chairs was very nice and relaxing, and it was great sleep.
Yeah, so it was a good trip. And thank you for tuning in. Hit like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next big adventure.
If you have any questions, leave comments. We will look at the comments, and we will respond to you if you have any questions about the cruise, the Wish, anything at all. We're happy to respond, and we just appreciate you all liking and subscribing. It means a lot to us, and we're going to be bringing more content, hopefully. As you know, we're not the big YouTubers who can video and edit it and make some great movie. But we're just real world Rob and Trish, and this is how it is. And we're going to bring you as much entertainment as we can. When we travel, you'll travel with us. I'm going to be going to Colorado at the end of the month, Hadley and I with Rob, to go hang out there for a little while. So I'm not here by myself because that kind of sucks, but we're figuring it out, guys.
Hit like and subscribe.
We love you guys.